Good afternoon. We're glad you joined us for the NAFEM Show Contract Launch Party. This is Dawn Parker, NAFEM's Vice President of Programs and Partnerships. The NAFEM Show is only 8 months away. During those months, we'll be presenting a series of brief 30-minute webinars that will hit the highlights of things you need to know about the show. All of our webinars will be recorded and available to you in the exhibitor education section of the show website at thenafemshow.org. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to stay informed. During today's webinar, send us your questions using the question function in your GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll answer everything that we can. If we run out of time or don't get to your question, we'll get back to you as soon as possible afterward with the information you need. Now let's get our launch party started by introducing Linda Trummel, the NAFEM Show Exhibits Manager, to talk about the show contract launching next Monday, June 4th, and how you can set a foundation for success in February. Linda, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you, Dawn. You'll see our agenda shown here. Today, we'll walk through the online resources, exhibit contract submission process, next steps after contract submission, online housing reservations, navigating the online floor plan, budget calculator, and critical dates. As you'll see, we'll be covering quite a few topics today, so let's jump right in. To begin our session, we'll start at our website, www.thenafemshow.org. The NAFEM Show website is a great tool to provide you with everything you need as an exhibitor. So I will head over to our site here. In the top navigation, you'll click on the For Exhibitors button. Here you can find links to the approved category list. So we've got a few PDFs on the left, a PDF form to reserve meeting space at the show, a copy of the NAFEM rules and regulations. I recommend downloading and printing these as there is a lot of helpful information and details in this document to ensure you are abiding by all show rules and avoid any surprises on site. And finally, a link to the show floor plan. A PDF copy of this piece, or a hard copy of this piece, was mailed out to all trade show contacts this week. Should be arriving any day now, so that matches this PDF copy here. In addition to these 4 items, there are additional resources under Select a Resource tab. Let's click on Important Dates and Deadlines, and it will scroll down. Here's a list of all the important upcoming deadlines for the show. The most important for now is Monday, June 4th. An email will be sent to your company's trade show contact with a link to the online application and your company's password. Your exhibit space contract and 50% deposit are due by Wednesday, July 25th in order to be included in the online space selection in August. If you continue to scroll down, you will see the show schedule, including move-in and move-out days and times. Also in the For Exhibitors section, so I'll scroll back up. You can click on Exhibitor Webinars to see the exhibitor training webinars offered leading up to the show and can register for them online. So after this, if you'd like to sign up for some of our future webinars, you can do so on our website here. Okay. Moving on, let's talk about how to submit your exhibit contract. The first thing you'll want to do is locate the email being sent June 4th at 11 a.m. Central Time to your company's trade show contact. Note that the sender address is info@thenafemshow.org. Please add this to your safe sender list if you have not already. The email provides a link to the contract as well as your company's unique password. We're going to do a quick run through of how to submit a contract. It'll take a few seconds while it loads. So this is the login page you'll be introduced to when you sign in. So you'll click on that link, which will be provided in the email, and you will enter your unique password. So I'm going to enter my password in now and click login. Okay, so here is the contract for exhibit space. The first section is the company information for official listing and all show materials. So please check your company information here and make sure it's accurate. Any changes, you can always contact NAFEM headquarters to have that information updated, or you can log in yourself at nafem.org. And then the trade show contact, which is likely yourself since you just logged in using your password. So that is the trade show contact. Make sure that information is accurate as well. And then here, this is new for this show. We've got a request for consent. This is related to GDPR, the new regulation that was just implemented starting May 25th. So please review this information in terms of how your data will be used, your contact information, and then click I agree. Make sure you understand all of this. And then we'll move on to the exhibit space information. So this is the key part while you're entering your booth size. So for example, I'm gonna enter in a 30 by 30 booth here, and that will auto-populate to 900 square feet. This is an island booth. If you're not sure what type of booth you're looking to have, you can click on any of these links. So linear here is what we also call inline, and that links to a page in our rules and regulations so you can learn more about that booth size and also understand our regulations and height regulations and what you'll need to abide by when you're on site, so you can plan accordingly. The next section is the location preference. So in order of preference or importance, what do you find most valuable when choosing your exhibit space? So there's 5 different options. For me, I'm going to say it's most important for me to be in the front of the hall. And then second, I really love NAFEM, so I would like to be near the NAFEM booth. Third, it's important for me to have a corner, and I have an island, so you'll have corners on there already, but if you are 10 by 10, this might be more important. And then along a main cross aisle, as that's where a lot of the heavy traffic is located. And then size of booth, I'll click that last. If I have a 30 by 30, great, but if it ends up being, a 40 by 40, that's okay. And then the next section is utilities. So here you can select everything you need. So electric, water, and drain. This is to let show management know what you're planning to have in your booth. At this point, that does not mean that you're ordering those items. You'll need to do that through the service kit that will be launched in September. And then this related companies section. So this section about related companies only applies to a company that is exhibiting with its parent and or sibling companies. This section will not apply to most exhibitors. If it does apply to you, I will be sending you an email this week with further instructions for how to use this section of the contract. So this won't apply to the majority of you, but important to know, and keep an eye out for an email from myself, Linda Trummel. You'll be receiving that this week with how to complete this section if it does apply to you specifically. The next section is for competitors. So if you have anyone that you wish to not be near for your exhibit booth, please be sure to type that in. So you would search for the company, type that in, search, and you'll have a drop down with anyone that starts with that name. So in this case, we have quite a few. I'd prefer not to be next to Alice's Aprons, so I entered that in. If you have more than 4, you're welcome to type in the company names here. This is great for us to refer to during space selection. It's also important for you to keep in mind, so when you are selecting your booth space come August, that you remember those competitors you don't wish to be near, as there's always a lot of changes on the floor plan throughout that process. So we'll keep this in mind when talking with you, but also have that on hand as well. Okay, next section will be your order details. So here I've chosen a 30 by 30 booth, and at $30 per square foot, that comes up to $27,000. So you have 3 payment options here. You can pay the remaining 50% by Friday, October 26th. You can pay 25% by September 14th and 25% by October 26th. So if you'd prefer to split up that remaining 50% deposit, that's the option you would choose. Or if you'd prefer to pay 100% now, you can click that option. So in this instance, it auto-populates for the amount charged 50%, so $13,500. I prefer to just be done with it. So instead, I'm going to delete that and enter in $27,000. And unfortunately, my credit card can't support that limit, so I'm going to click sending by check. And then I'll scroll down, and here is contract information. So if this is not you, please be sure that you receive authorization from this individual when submitting this contract, because you are bound by your terms and conditions once you read and hit submit. So in this case, I am authorized to submit this contract, so I'm going to enter in my information. And then scroll down. The final section are terms and conditions. So this section must be acknowledged before your contract will be processed. We have our approved product category list that you can review here. There's also our contract conditions, rules, and regulations. So you'll see I can't hit submit without checking this box, and I can't check this box without clicking on our contract conditions, rules, and regulations. As I mentioned, this is a very important document. I highly recommend printing it out and reading through it. Good plain project if you like. There's a lot of important information in there, very helpful for our show. So I'm going to go back. I've read through that document. I'm going to click OK, and you'll see the button change to orange, and click Submit. All right, and you'll receive a thank you. Your contract for exhibit space for the NAFEM show has been successfully submitted. You'll receive an email shortly with details. So at that moment, please check your inbox. You should have received 2 emails from info@thenafemshow.org. So very important, all contracts must be submitted along with 50% deposit on or before July 25th for your company to participate in the online space selection in August. Please note that the website does time out after 1 hour, so be sure to have your contract or your credit card handy if you're choosing to pay that way. And if you submit a contract and want to make any changes to it afterwards, please contact NAFEM by email or phone, so info@thenafemshow.org, rather than going in and resubmitting your contract. Submitting multiple contracts causes issues in the system. So if you have any issues or you're like, oh no, I need a 50 by 50 instead of a 30 by 30, that is absolutely okay. We can update that on the back end so you don't have multiple contracts in our system. Okay, immediately after you submit your contract, you'll receive 2 confirmation emails. The first confirms the receipt of your contract and provides a list of critical dates. The second email provides a copy of your completed contract for your records. Please note that the email that confirms receipt also provides you with a link to make your hotel reservations. So it'll look exactly like this. Housing reservations cannot be made until your exhibit contract is submitted. Once you submit your contract, make sure to look for the housing link so that you can take care of booking your hotel rooms. Within 48 hours of submitting your contract, we will email you an invoice showing the amount paid as a deposit if you selected pay by credit card, or an invoice showing balance due if you selected sending check. You can also always pull your own invoice if you log in, click on My Account. You can pull that at any time as soon as you submit your contract if you'd like to get it sooner. During the week of August 6th, you'll receive an email with details about the space selection, including your company's priority point total, space selection date and time, and call-in phone number. If you wish to review your priority points prior to August, you can find them on the NAFEM website, which is nafem.org. Click on the Members Area section, log in, and select important links and documents to find your points. Please note your login and password for the member section of the website is different than any show-related usernames and passwords. On August 8th, NAFEM will host the Space Selection Essentials webinar. During this webinar, we'll go over everything you need to know to prepare for the online space selection, and we'll walk you through the online space selection process. So please save that date and you can register now on our website. Space selection takes place over 2 weeks. The week of August 13th is for all member companies with 200 or more points. The week of August 20th is space selection for members with less than 200 priority points. NAFEM associate members eligible to exhibit and non-members. Note that when there are multiple companies within the same point category, a random drawing is conducted to determine the assignment order within that particular point category. Associate members and non-members are assigned space in the order their contract was received after all members with priority points have been assigned. Housing. Exhibitors must submit their completed exhibit contract before housing can be secured. As mentioned, the link to secure housing is provided in your email confirmation once you submit your exhibit contract. The hotel block will book quickly, so if your preferred hotel shows up as sold out or unavailable on our website, we encourage you to book rooms at another hotel in our block to ensure rooms are secure for you and your team. In addition, if you wish, you also may contact On Peak by phone to be added to the waitlist of your preferred hotel. Please note, waitlist requests must be done by phone and will not be accepted without having a reservation at an alternate hotel in the NAFEM block. So if you wish to be at a different hotel that appears to be sold out, please book yourself at one of our hotels, and then in the meantime, call On Peak and request to be added to the waitlist for your preferred hotel. On Peak is our official housing coordinator. All reservations and customer service related to housing is provided by On Peak. We know over the years other non-official housing companies have contacted our exhibitors offering discounted hotel rates for the NAFEM show. Please be aware there is only one official exclusive housing coordinator for the show, and that is On Peak. On Peak does not solicit and does not send emails or make phone calls to NAFEM members and exhibitors. If you receive an unsolicited email or a phone call from a housing provider, that is your red flag. They are not officially connected with NAFEM. We recommend you use On Peak to make your reservation process easy and hassle-free, which you can do via the link that you'll find in your confirmation email. On Peak is also on site at the NAFEM show to assist you during the show if you need it. While you won't need to select specific booth choices when you complete your contract, you'll probably want to get familiar with the floor plan prior to space selection in August. A hard copy of the floor plan was mailed to all primary and trade show contacts this week. Additionally, our floor plan can be found online under the For Exhibitors section we reviewed earlier. Let's take a couple minutes to review it. So I'm going to go back to our website here. And under the For Exhibitors section, so you've got the PDF version, or if you select a resource, we also have our online version. The online version will be important to reference during space selection, as this is the link that will be updated minute by minute as booths are assigned. Okay, first you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, there are zoom in and zoom out buttons. And you can also use, I've got a mouse here, so I'm able to zoom in and zoom out. I'm not, here, let's see. Okay, and to move left and right, up or down, you can click on the floor plan and just drag it like so. And then booths can be combined to create inlines, peninsula, and islands. You'll notice the space between blue and yellow, so I'm going to zoom back in. So we've got this space between these blue booths or between these yellow booths. This is called a service aisle and is for any electrical and plumbing needed for the inline booths. If you need a 30-foot wide island, you will combine these booths and the service aisle will go away. So if you're looking for, say, a 20 by 30, we would combine these 4 booths, which would eat into that service aisle. And if you wanted to be an island, we would delete these 2 here. So a new rule this year, booth width must be less than or equal to booth length for any booths larger than 600 square feet. So what does this mean exactly? If you're looking to have a 30 by 70 booth, 2,100 square feet total, you would need to combine booths vertically and not horizontally. You cannot have the larger side be the width. So if I'm looking for a 30 by 70 booth, I would take this block, which is 30 wide, up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to here, and combine this block versus combining it horizontally like this. So doing 1, 2, 3 and combining it long ways. So I wanted to point that out. This will help with sight lines for other neighboring exhibitors around you and help to streamline our aisles. Any specific questions about this, we are more than happy to answer. And so that's the floor plan piece. Feel free to look at it, explore it. We also have a legend up here that you can look at to view different booth sizes and understand what the color coding means there. So feel free to take a look and explore that on your own time. And then finally, we've got the budget calculator, which is a really awesome tool. So today we've been talking about contracting for your exhibit space, but we know the booth fee is just a fraction of the expense you incur when exhibiting at a trade show. With the goal of finding additional ways to improve your overall exhibitor experience at the NAFEM show, we have prepared a booth space expense calculator tool for your use. The tool provides pricing for the most commonly ordered items by exhibitors at our show. It also indicates items provided to you on a complimentary basis, such as lead retrieval and attendee lists, so you know it's not necessary to budget for them. Keep in mind the price list in the budget calculator tool is not exhaustive, but it does provide the things ordered the most, including material handling, which is such a large portion of your budgets. Typically, you've not seen these costs until September when our service kit is distributed. We hope that receiving this information early June makes it easier for you to develop more accurate and timely budgets for the show. So I'll just take a quick run through the calculator so you can see how it works. So we'll head back to our website and go back under for exhibitors. There's a quick link for exhibitor education and budget calculator. So we're going to be going to the budget calculator. So how much will my booth cost? We've got a little description here. And then here's the simple step-by-step. So you'll start with your NAFEM member status. So I'm going to assume that I'm a member. I am going to go for a 10 by 20 booth. Another option, if you know I need a 30 by 30 booth, you can do your custom booth size here for 200 square feet or more. So if I'm a 30 by 30, I would type in 900 square feet, and that will update the sections below. For purposes of this example, I'll just go with a 10 by 10 here. So in this section, you'll see that the 2 corners and the aisle fee are not available. I'm going to explain this really quickly. You can always click on the aisle, but if you're looking for a island space that is open on all 4 sides, you're going to want to factor in, so if I go back to this custom booth being a 30 by 30, this aisle fee and your 2 corners into your budget, that's how NAFEM operates. So when we delete 2 booths to create your island, there's a charge for an aisle fee. So I'm going to go back to that 10 by 10, and I would like a corner with that booth. So for $250, I have a corner. And then I am going to do the standard classic carpet here. And then I would like to have vacuuming in all 3 show days. So we've got pre-show and then for Friday and Saturday. So that includes 3 days. And then under my rental items, I'm going to go for, I need a drape table and 2 chairs, pretty standard setup. I don't need any stools since I have my chairs. I've got my 1 wastebasket, but you can add several if you need it. And then under select your freight and material handling needs. So here we've got some definitions for crated versus special handling if you're not sure where you fall in. I know that I have, based on previous shows, about 1,000 pounds that I'm going to be needing to ship in. And I know that my team does a good job at putting it on a pallet and shrink wrapping it prior to being sent. So you've got crated material that is skidded or is in any type of shipping container that can be unloaded at the dock with no additional handling. Versus if I'm shipping in several things from maybe Amazon and FedEx and their individual packages, that's going to require more special handling, that it's not all contained. So we've got the advanced warehouse rates along with direct to show site. Then over time, like I said, there's definitions for each of these that you can review if you're ever confused. I'm going to keep scrolling down. Labor, I would like to have Freeman help me set up my booth, and I know it takes around 4 hours to set it up. Need a few tools and whatnot, so that's on straight time. And then I also need help tearing down since it's just going to be me on site. So I'm going to add in 2 hours of overtime for the tear down since we move out on a Saturday. I don't need an overhead sign, but if you are in an island space, that option is here. And then utilities, I know that I need a 20 amp, so we've got 10 amp, 20 amp. I just need 1 drop. Don't need any water and drain, but there are these options per connection along with natural gas. And then premium internet service, I need 1 dedicated line. You'll see here that NAFEM does provide complimentary wireless internet, but I'm going to be doing some demos and showing some videos, so I want to make sure we don't lose any connectivity, as that wireless internet that's provided with the NAFEM Show is for basic web browsing and email checking. So make sure I've got that covered. And then I think it would be fun to provide some cookies. So we have show floor receptions on Thursday and Friday evenings from 4 to 5. So you can always order some catering from Centerplate. So here's a link to view the menu. And once you see and check out the pricing, I know my cookies will cost around $500. And then I've got my summary here. So $7,230, that includes my booth fee. And just note, please note that this is an estimate, doesn't include taxes and some additional fees. So it's to give you a ballpark, but please be sure to keep in mind that you don't take this exact number and place it into your budget. But it's definitely a good tool to reference to get your general pricing for participating in our show. And then I'm going to want to send an email to myself with this summary, so I can type that in here and send summary. And my email has been sent to me. And here's a nice summary too that you can print that accounts for all of your expenses that you just selected. So that is the budget calculator. If you have any questions on that, you're welcome to contact us. We're happy to explain anything further that you need. Okay, critical dates. Many of these critical dates we have already mentioned, but I'd like to run through them for one last time. So June 4th, exhibit space contract is available. The email will be deployed at 11 a.m. Central Time, so please keep an eye on that. July 25th, contract and 50% deposit are due to be eligible for online space selection. August 8th will be our next webinar, Space Selection Essentials. Highly recommend attending that. August 13th through the 22nd, we have online space selection. September 12th, the exhibitor console will be available, which will include exhibitor registration, exhibitor services manual, as well as several other items that will be very helpful for planning your booth. So registering your exhibitor appointed contractor will be an option there. Completing your booth profile for the mobile app, so populating your profile, that will be for our mobile app on site, along with several other resources. And then October 26th, final exhibit space balance is due. NAFEM keeps 30% of total booth fee for all reductions or cancellations occurring between space selection and October 26th. After the 26th, full balance due on any reduced or canceled booths. So please note any changes made to your booth size during the space selection will not be financially penalized. However, once your space has been selected, NAFEM keeps 30% of the total booth fee for all reductions or cancellations. If space is canceled or reduced after October 26th, the exhibitor remains responsible for the full space rental charge for the originally contracted exhibit space. And this language is also in the rules and regulations if you ever need to refer back to it. Okay, November 2nd, detailed floor plans due for island, split islands, peninsula, or modified peninsula booths. And a new rule I'd like to call out for this year, for this show, hanging signs are permitted in all peninsulas, modified peninsulas, split islands, and island booths to a maximum height of 20 feet to the top of the sign. Booth structures must remain at 16 feet from the floor to the top of the structure, but hanging signs can now go up to 20 feet. So this is a new rule for NAFEM, and like I said, it only applies to the hanging signs being able to go up to 20 feet. And then also ongoing exhibitor education webinar series, which I've mentioned you can sign up online. So thank you everyone for your time today. We anticipate your contract submission process will be smooth and easy, and know that our team is here to assist you with anything you need throughout the planning process. I'm going to toss it back to Dawn.
Thanks, Linda. Let's get to the questions. I want to say that if we don't get to all of them, we've only got a few minutes left on this webinar. We will be following up with you shortly to answer those questions. But Linda, our first question, we just covered it, but let's reiterate again. Can you please repeat the date that the contract is due by?
July 25th.
Great.
That's a Wednesday. Yep.
Okay. Perfect. So what if, I have a question here, what if I change my mind after I submit my contract and would like a larger booth? Is that okay? And do I need to submit another contract?
So if you change your mind after you initially submit, that is okay. Stick with that. It would be great if you could send us an email just so we have a note of that, but that's not a problem. So hang tight until space selection, and you can always upgrade your booth space when you're calling in.
Okay, and then just to confirm again, that they need to submit their contract, and then we'll get to space selection in August.
Yes, so submit your contract. The contract period is June 4th to July 25th. And once that happens, then we will compile all the data and put together call-in times, which will be sent out the week of August 6th. And from there, space selection will take place between August 13th and August 22nd, depending on your priority point total.
Perfect. And then I think we have time for just one more. This is from a company that has multiple brands, and each brand will handle their own housing needs. Can the email that is sent to them for housing be sent out to each brand, or is the link unique just to that person?
The link can be sent to each brand. And I'll be sending a dedicated email to those individuals, those universal contacts, likely tomorrow. So any questions particular to their setup, since it's a unique We only have a handful of exhibitors in this situation. I can always address with them individually, but they can use that housing link for their child companies to also book their housing.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Linda, like I said before, any of the questions that we didn't get to today, we will be reaching out to each of you to answer your question. And don't forget, if you missed something, you can replay this webinar at any time by downloading the file from the exhibitor education section of the show site. That's the nafemshow.org. And don't miss the next NAFEM Show webinar, Wednesday, August 8th at 1 p.m. Central, when we'll talk about space selection, critical dates, and rules and regulations that you'll want to keep in mind. Also, remember to watch your email for the launch of the contract that's coming out on Monday, June 4th at 11 a.m. Central Time. And again, thank you for joining us today.